Yeah, I see him clocking. Yeah.
Maury's production.
I see him clocking, they just trying to watch how I make it. One of a kind, so it ain't no mistaking. Music I'm slapping, this shit ain't outdated. Said fuck all the rules, if you make it, I'll break it. Full steam ahead, I ain't down with no pacing. Whipping the booth and come out with that Cajun. Visual, you see it clear like it's LASIK. If shit don't work out, then it's back to the base. I see him clocking, they just...
I agree. Hey, listen, not to switch gears, but you know, since I run a news page, it's been so hot on, like, this is equally as popping as the Meg stuff. Did you see what happened with my man Gunna?
So Gunna is interesting. I'll give you my take. I haven't done a post on it. We'll do it here. First, the prosecutors take an L, in my opinion, when they hold a guy on bond for longer than they wanted him to serve on the crime. They denied this man a bond. They were going to continue to deny this man a bond. He would have sat there for 2, 3, 6 more months while this trial was playing out. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they made a value judgment that for his crimes that we've charged him with, 1 year is enough. So they actually wanted to hold him on bond longer than they wanted him to serve on the crime that they charged him with, which I think is a very important point here, because you see the effect that denying a bond has on someone. In fact, it is more of a punishment than the crime that they were trying to find you guilty of. That's not cool. As a criminal justice system, as a prosecutor who takes that plea, you take that plea, you enter that plea, you better not call that a dub. That's not a win. That is shameful. That's not good prosecution. What do I think about going from here? I haven't looked at it. I haven't seen it. My understanding is that he's not snitching. He has not given them any information. He's accepting accountability. His basic statement seems to be that there is a gang. I have nothing to do with it. I'm part of a label. If my songs have repped that gang, if my songs have shitted on people who that gang has problems with, then I understand how you guys are saying your laws work. Your laws basically are criminalizing my words because I'm expressing support for a group that is out there committing crimes. Do I have a problem with that? No. I mean, if you're going to penalize people for that, okay. But if you're going to arrest them and then hold them for a year, and then you were going to continue to hold them for longer, and then you say, oh yeah, for his crime, the penalty is actually less than the time that we wanted to hold him for. What?
I'm wondering if there's another angle here, because like it's no way they're just throwing Gunna a bone, right? So I'm wondering what the prosecution angle is. Number one,
no, that's it. They're looking at it and they're going, yo, we charged this guy for saying shout out YSL. That's literally what we charged him for. He never did anything. He has nothing to do with nothing. We're probably not going to get him for more than a year. Let's just fucking settle this case.
Well, also,
he doesn't have to
from what I read, I don't know if you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if you read this yet. Apparently, a part of the plea, he's saying things like to the effect of, for example, like a part of the written plea, he's saying that when he was caught in the car alone with Thug, the guns, the drugs did not belong to him, and he has to be willing to be able to testify to such extent if he's called, right? And that's a part of the plea, which obviously, you know, I guess people are just using deductive reason to say, well, if it's just me and you and we're together somewhere and they find something, I don't necessarily have to say it's you, but if I say it's absolutely not me and I sign something to say, listen, you could reverse my entire plea if it's actually me rather than going to fight it. It's almost actually like pointing the quote unquote pointing the elbow, like, you know what I mean?
Haven't read it. I think there's something wrong there, because I don't think the guns were found in his car. I think the guns were found in the car that was trailing them. The drugs were found in his car.
I'll read it. It says Gunna also attested in the plea deal that he was in a car with Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams, when officers pulled him over and found hydrocodone, methamphetamine, and a firearm inside. According to the plea agreement, Gunna claims the gun and drugs weren't his. It's unclear if anyone else besides him and Thug were in the car.
That sounds accurate. What's that? What outlet is that from?
That's WSB TV.
Oh, okay. Well, if if part of his plea agreement is he's saying it's not his gun, then certainly that is a feather that adds to the prosecutor's case that it's Young Thug's gun. I don't think it conclusively proves that it's Young Thug's gun, and it doesn't sound like he's saying that it's Young Thug's gun. As we recently saw, there was a gun in Young Boy's car, and he didn't get charged with. He didn't get found guilty of it. So yes, he's doing that, but I don't know that that's him snitching on Young Thug on a gun charge. That's not.
No, not saying. Well, I'm just asking, what's the prosecutor's angle, right? Because it's definitely a favorable plea. I'm wondering if they're looking at like, well, at least the plea we gave him now, he's admitting, which is a heavy contention among the majority, especially. Well, Young Thug is pretty much the only other artist that we really, really know. If anyone was trying to make the argument that YSL is only a record label and not a gang, in his plea, he's saying it's both. And maybe you could leverage that to then, again, I don't think none of this shit's going to a trial, but you're just stacking up evidence and pretty much approaching these guys like, listen, you go to a trial with us, we could bring Gunna in just to testify that this thing is also a gang. And you might want to take a plea.
You're 100% right that in taking the plea, he has acknowledged that YSL is a gang, and that is something that prosecutors will be able to use against everybody else where they are trying to prove that YSL is a gang. We can't, however, take from that and now assume that, okay, he's given prosecutors this key fact, and that's what got him such a great deal. That's a stretch. He can't take this plea. You can't plead to racketeering unless you say that there's a gang. You can't plead to a racketeering charge unless there's a gang. You have to say there's a gang if you're going to plead to the racketeering charge. So, I think the whole story has to be done, and then you can figure out what the impact was of Gunna's plea. But the idea that by saying that is what got him the lower charge is not fair. I think an equally fair analysis based on the information we know is what got him the lower charge is a prosecutor's opinion that, oh shit, that motherfucker been locked up for a year already. Yeah, that's all we need on his charge. Let's let him go ahead and go. What did he do? He rapped YSL in some songs.
Is the timing not odd though? Because again, he already got denied plea 4 times. He got denied bond 4 times. You didn't have to give him a plea at this point. You could wait till right before trial. You could drag it out as much as he got denied bond 4 times. Clearly, the judges agree with you that he should be let out. And if you feel, you already charged him with all these charges that you were looking for more time. Why randomly just say a month after we denied your last and 4th plea, you know what? We're going to commute your sentence and, you're free to go, suspend the sentence. The timing is a lot odd.
Look, I don't think anyone knows. My personal take on it is this is a prosecutor saying, all right, we're about to go to trial. We don't really have much on this guy anyway. He's already done a year. That's good enough for me. By cutting him loose now, we get a couple things. We get his admission, nice. We get what we were probably going to get from him anyway. So he's already served his time, nice. And we don't have to do this shit. We don't have to fucking try to convince the judge and the jury that this shit is racketeering. Because, is saying in a song, YSL, like right now, if I start saying YSL is the fucking truth, fuck yeah, YSL, go get your ops. Am I racketeering?
No.
I don't know. Am I? Like, are we? Like, shit. That's what Gunna pled to.
You would hope not.
That's what Gunna said, right? Gunna said, yo, I was repping the gang, and I'm sorry that my art gave them a bigger reputation. Shit, man, I'm sorry my reporting gave people a bigger reputation. But I don't think there's anything suspicious about the timing. I think this man served a year on a very little charge. It's about time that he got out, so they cut him loose. We'll see what the impact of his admission that YSL is a gang has on the 27 other gentlemen who've been charged in this indictment.
Is this a hit on the prosecution's case, though? Because the prosecution, and I watched every single bond hearing, they were there in their picture and of this racketeering, situation with this organization. They claimed that he was, one of the guys either funneling money or a person who is calling the shots.
Yeah, so, it's a joke. It's a joke. They said, "Hey, you can't let this guy out. He's going to threaten witnesses. He's going to kill people. He's going to buy everybody off." Well, you just let him out. So, if he was such a big threat, go charge him properly and get your 5 years against the guy. Now, obviously, they will say, "Well, he's rehabilitated. He said that YSL must end. He was a threat before, but he's a new man. He's seen the light. He's taken his plea, and he's no longer a threat." That's the story. But am I, proud of the people? It's the people versus Sergio Kitchens. I don't think the people got a W here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's much more to be seen on this. And I'm for the first time, I'm actually looking at Fonnie Willis a little bit odd because much more than Gunna, at the bottom of the article, which I'm not sure why they use alleged. They're like alleged. Well, no, never mind. Okay. It said alleged YSL co-founder, which is someone else, which is Walter Murphy, also negotiated a plea, according to his lawyer, and that they said that Murphy, which is a co-founder of YSL, has already been released, and he won't testify about the conduct of any other individuals. I'm like, if YSL is so dangerous, why the hell would you let go a alleged co-founder? That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but I will say from what I've seen, they will often give high level. They'll give. Listen, if you're willing to give up information, anybody can get the deal. First one to the cookie gets it. That's how it works.
That's interesting, man.